Welcome to My Long Island TV. From Manhasset to Montauk, we have traveled our communities to bring you the following events. I'm your host, Waldo Cabrera. My Long Island TV starts now. On the east end of Long Island lies a misunderstood and mysterious place.
There's a lot of stories about Plum Island, and all of them are untrue.
We're not doing secret work. We're not creating Montauk monsters. We're not working with alien technologies or Nazi scientists. All of those rumors have been out there, but those are all completely untrue.
True or untrue, many Long Islanders are skeptical about what goes on in there.
Everyone I said who I was coming to Plum Island was like, "What? You're going to Plum Island?" You know, they gave me the old, be careful, be careful.
In order to ease this negative perception, the U.S. government has opened up Plum Island to the public. Today, members of the Long Island Press Club get the grand tour.
The mission of Plum Island Animal Disease Center is to protect the nation from the introduction of accidental diseases where somebody could bring something in through an airport, or we protect the nation from the intentional introduction where somebody brought in something with the intention of harming our agriculture. We train the veterinarians that do those responses so that they can recognize those diseases. We do the diagnostic work. So if there is animals with diseases that look, that we don't recognize, we send the samples here and we do the testing for that. And then we have the vaccine banks to help respond to that. So we are part of the nation's response to an outbreak of a foreign animal disease.
The primary virus studied at Plum Island is foot and mouth disease. It affects hoofed animals such as cattle, pig, sheep, goats, bison, and deer. The virus is inhaled by the animals and it settles in the lungs and throat where it quietly grows. By the time symptoms are visible in the hoof and mouth, it's too late for the animal, and too often, it's too late for the herd. A second disease being studied is African swine fever. When the virus infects domesticated pigs, there's a 100% mortality rate, and so far, there's no cure. None of the viruses studied at Plum Island are harmful to humans, but you can understand why the facility is on an island.
The reason why we're on an island is for safety, not for secrecy. So we need to ensure that whatever diseases we're working with stay inside the containment facility. That's why we have these security procedures in place.
Some of the security procedures to get on Plum Island include a background check, social security number, proper ID, and you can't be a foreign national.
So all the air is what we call considered single pass air, so it's never recirculated.
The quick tour of the main building left most of us wanting more.
We didn't get to go into the most complex and difficult research areas. We only got into the front door of the front door, where we were given a detailed explanation of how careful they have to be to decontaminate everything.
The bulk of our waste that comes out of biocontainment actually exits through autoclaving.
The rooms testing the viruses operate in a negative air pressure atmosphere. The air pressure outside the room is higher than inside the room, so when a door is open, air is sucked into the room and never blown out. As we drove around and took in the sights, we were informed that any deer that manages to swim ashore is euthanized by federal snipers. An infected deer could swim off the island and trigger an outbreak. Although we weren't allowed into the holding pens where the tests are being conducted, the tour still provided some surprises.
To actually see the real island in its, regular scientific and technological glory of what it actually provides our government, in juxtaposition of what I know of it from a fictional perspective, was very exciting.
I knew that there had been a fort there, but I didn't realize how big it was, and I didn't realize how extensive the buildings were.
I never realized the economic impact of animals on our agriculture and our economy.
An outbreak of foot and mouth disease in this country is estimated to cost $60 billion, because one thing it does is it stops all your exports. So you're not going to be able to sell any more pigs or cattle. Dairy products are all going to be stopped from going to other countries. That's going to cause catastrophic losses to our industries and also to our food supply.
There are over 400 people working on Plum Island, but those jobs and the economic activity surrounding them will eventually be moved to Manhattan. No, not that Manhattan. Manhattan, Kansas.
Because there are so many emerging diseases in the world that we cannot study in this facility, mostly because they are zoonotic. Zoonotic means they can be transmitted from animals to humans. We can't study those in this type of a laboratory. We needed to have biosafety level 4 capabilities to enable us to study these new and emerging diseases that are popping up around the world. We're probably looking at good 8-10 years before we start even to think about transitioning the actual work to the new facility in Kansas. And it'll be a few years of transition before everything goes 100% over there. And at that point, once that lab is fully operational, then this lab ultimately will be shut down.